Welcome back to the show. We have another red hot match ready for you guys. Rob and Raven, have you recovered from that insane play that tied up the order game?
Honestly, no. I was kind of left scrambling for words in that instance, and my whole job is to say words out loud for the stream, and I was left dumbfounded by that from Cutie. He picks up 2 kills plus the 3rd down. Raven, it was just absolutely mental.
It was crazy. As soon as the observer flicked onto Cutie, it's a good thing you guys couldn't see me. I think I was like this the whole time. You could just see it happening. Wildcard had no idea. Crazy plays. But that was a good game. I am so excited that it came back to be a close one.
Yep, it certainly did. But next up, we have another game which is super important for both of the teams involved. It is Giants versus the Knights, and the stakes could not be higher. Giants coming into the season, everyone had expectations of them to be the uncontested #1 in APAC South, and not only did that not follow through, but these guys need to win this game, otherwise their dream of even making to playoffs is dead. This is everything for them.
It's just crazy, man. Like this roster, we just expected them to absolutely annihilate the competition. I think they did too. And, you know, whether it's a meta shift, whether they came into it a little bit too cocky, whatever it may have been, it's completely disrupted what they came to achieve. They're now currently sitting in at 6th with only 5 points, and they have to win this game. They cannot allow points to slip here. You've got Hysterics and Speakeasy that have been going absolutely mental for this roster. Hysterics still sits at the top of the leaderboard for a lot of our stats. However, it's the other 3 that have really gone missing. They are in the bottom 10 for all seasonal stats right now, which to me just blows my mind from this roster.
Yes. Yeah,
it's so... Sorry, Dev.
Please, Raven, take it away.
I'll go. I'm just gobsmacked as well, honestly. But I think it's something that we talked about earlier, Robbie, during a rehost, I think. It's something about this stage this year where there have been such big meta changes that I think we're just seeing a new order kind of being created here. And maybe it's just taking some teams longer to adjust. And that could just be the case for Giants.
Certainly could, and of course they're going up against the new order of the Pittsburgh Knights. These guys coming through OCE, they're currently sitting #1 at the end of the OCN Stage 1. They looked like it was rocky for a bit for them, but they are looking like the hottest team out of Oceania at the moment, and potentially the best team in APAC South. But in order to prove that, they need to win tonight and then to beat Elevate as well on Thursday.
I'm looking to see some of these other players step up for Knights. We've seen some big plays from Dino and Josh in particular, but Sage has been a little bit hot and cold, and even Hayward, you know, he can have a solid impact, especially with some entries, but just hasn't had the dominance that we would expect from Knights, and that's what makes me a bit scared for some of these other teams, is it still feels like the Knights have room to improve.
That's the part in there that, you know, they can be better than what they are right now. I mean, it goes to highlight, I think, the region as a whole for Oceania and what they've achieved internationally is we've always had room to grow, but we just haven't been hitting our peak. I don't think we're still yet to hit our peak, but Knights definitely are probably the closest to one of the best performing teams that we have had, especially in APAC South. I mean, you just look at their results. They have done phenomenally so far this season, and to come into this right now, you know, there is a bit of pressure riding on them. They are currently the only Oceania team in the top 4 position. So right now, as it stands, they're the only one that will be representing us come playoffs, which is insane to think.
Well, let's see if Knights can put OCE on the map. Speaking of, let's go and have a look at the map veto and see, will Giants be favored? Will Knights be favored? Clubhouse is our destination. We're going to Germany, guys. And this is a map that we've seen both teams play a couple of times before. I want to get your thoughts. Raven, any insights you could provide?
Look, definitely played more by Knights than in Giants. We've only seen Giants play it a few times, and that's kind of more recently as well. They had a 7-4 victory over Chiefs, but they only recently lost this to Q-Confirm. That was, in fact, 7 days ago. That was a close game, 5-7, but they did look a little bit messy. And, the Knights are a pretty decent clubhouse team. So I feel like this is still favoring Knights. They're probably coming into this map as favorites, just given the way they've been playing this stage. And now that I see clubhouse, I'm still feeling that way. But it's hard to write off the Giants. There's just something there that feels like it could be just a matter of time that they awaken again.
Yeah, they are the sleepy Giants. They've been snoozing all season long, so let's hope they wake up today. But I think from what I recall, especially against the Chiefs game, their attacks this is the Giants obviously, their attacks just weren't up to par from what we would expect, but their defense was unbelievably strong. And so I think we would look to which side they're starting on, because we know that Knights, this is a map that they're well and truly comfortable on. We know that this is a map that's played through and through in ANZ, so they've got plenty of practice on it. But I honestly think it's going to come down to how well can Giants attack, because I have no questions on their defense. I think their defense will be solid, so that is where it's going to lie for me.
Well, Knights will set the pace as they start on the attacking side, but I can't help but thinking back to everything that these teams are playing for right now. There's no doubt about it that Knights want to prove that they're the best team in APAC South. They've proved that they're the best team in OCN now, and time to do the same here. But in order to take that crown away from Elevate, they have to win here, and then they have to beat Elevate on Thursday. That's a tall task. Even just defeating Giants, while they may be sleeping, they're certainly not a team to be overlooked. But when they are desperate, when they are fighting for a spot in the playoffs, this is do or die for them. Does that perhaps give us more reason to have faith in the Giants? Will this pressure enable them, or will it start to make them falter?
Raven, I'll let
That's
you
a great question.
You can take this one, Raven. You can dive into it.
Yeah, thanks, bro. I think it's a great question that you pose here, Dev. But one would argue that maybe there's already been pressure on the Knights the entire stage because they've been struggling. So there's this internal pressure from them to get some form back, and now it's the do or die pressure of playoffs. It really is one of those things that will either make them crumble or it could make them rise to the occasion. I'm honestly not sure which way it's going to go for this one, but at the same time, there is pressure on the Knights camp, and we've seen them rise to the pressure on a lot of occasions recently, and that is that they want to secure playoffs right now, and they can do so with a 3-point victory tonight.
I'm definitely not going to piggyback too much off that. I 100% agree that I actually think that Giants have had a lot of pressure on them from the start, especially after their first loss against what was the ex-Xavier roster, then now Elevate. I think that ever since that happened, we have been asking questions and they just haven't been answering the call. So for me, they have been playing under pressure, and if you look at their results, it just hasn't been the Giants that we had really hoped for. So maybe when the pressure starts to cook a little bit, they do crack. Whereas for the Knights, this is no bias. I promise you right now. I have spoken ill of Knights for some time, especially in their OCN trials, but they are really in good form right now. When you have Dino, who is really the spearhead of the team and is top fragging as well for a lot of these games, I really think that they are in fine form to take this to the Giants and to actually knock them out of playoffs contention.
Wow, well, we were sitting on the fence there for a minute, Rob, but you're starting to take sides here. My instinct, I feel like despite everything that we've seen this season and all of the the spat of poor form that Giants has been, I can't get that legacy bias away from me, and that's why I picked them tonight. I can't help but think, would it be APAC South playoffs without the Giants? It's hard to imagine after they were first and second place throughout the entire of APAC North last year. Raven, this would be a massive moment for the Giants should they lose this, and also a big opportunity for Knights to take with both hands. Which side of the fence are you going to lay here?
I'm still on the Knights side, just because I'm kind of with you. It's like I was saying before, it feels like there's just something that could happen, and we've got the Giants back, because they are all fantastic players, and nothing has particularly changed for them to create the slump. It's a matter of them getting out of it. So hopefully it's not tonight in terms of the Knights, because they are looking to look to get that playoff campaign locked in, and I'm just feeling like tonight it's the Knights.
I'm starting to get scared because, both these teams have a lot to play for, right? But Knights have already qualified for playoffs, so even if they lose this, the only thing that they're losing out on is that number one spot. the Giants, they're losing out on even playing in playoffs at all. I feel like that's a bigger risk and a bigger loss. And I guess it begs the question, what puts on more pressure? Knights, who are hoping to take that next step to being the best in APAC South, or Giants, who are hoping to not take a step backwards, because they already have taken 2 or 3 steps backwards, and for them to fall completely out of playoffs would be horrendous. So what puts on more pressure, Rob? Knights hoping to elevate themselves, or Giants looking to save themselves?
Generally, I would lean into Giants here. I would say that Giants, not being in the face of the playoffs would be a huge amount of pressure for them, not something they would want to let slip. But I'm going to continue to double down with Knights here, and I'm going to say that for everything we've heard, all the Onigiri talks, every time we interview him, we ask him who is the most dangerous, and each and every time he has said the Knights, game in and game out. It has always been the Knights that have been on Elevate's mind, and I think that is reiterating into every game that we have seen from the Knights. Not only that, you do have to think about the implications of being the Stage 1 champions. Not only are you able to walk away, with your head held high, you've got the pride, you also walk straight into the APAC championship between the top of North, plus the SI points. This is not just a talk of, if you finish Stage 1 on top, you'll be looking good. This is a conversation of, no, you can actually say, without a doubt, you are the best team in APAC, period. And that is something that I think that Dino would definitely be instilling in the entirety of the Knights right now.
Totally. That's what I was going to say. I was totally going to say that, Rob. It's not just about being in playoffs. If you first in APAC South, you get to face the first place team in APAC North as well in that, grand final kind of championship of APAC. You get to bypass playoffs, and it's not just about, the prize money, it's also the SI points, the stage points. It's about all other things. So I think the pressure is definitely still there for Knights, because they're actually in a position to get that, because their biggest opponent to take it from them is Elevate, and that's who they have in the final Playday. Get 3 points here, they have a chance to get points against Elevate, whether it's 2 or 3. I haven't checked the standings, but I'm pretty sure that would put them back on top. And yeah, they really have that opportunity.
We have underestimated Knights before, and they still came out on top of OCN, and they are still gunning for that #1 spot in APAC South. But can the Giants save themselves, or will they fall short? This game means everything. Xenox and Guz, I know you better enjoy this.
Yes, we are definitely going to enjoy it. Hopefully everyone along watching is going to enjoy it just as much, and hopefully it lives up to the expectations that it's already setting, Guz.
Yeah, massive match. The math is simple. The Giants, if they get 0 points, they do not make the playoffs. That's huge. If the Knights get a singular point tonight, they qualify for the playoffs. So simple math, but I'm sure that this game is probably going to be anything but.
Well, enough talking. We're going to press that button. Let's get into the game. It's Clubhouse for our third match of the day for Playday 6 of APAC South, and it's a big one. Giants versus Knights. Many moons ago, we would have thought that this might have been a battle for first place. Not so much, but kind of is. Of course, Knights still vying for that top spot. If they can get all 3 points here, it will set up a tantalizing match against Elevate on the final Playday.
Wow, I was going to say that this ban phase should be pretty predictable from the Giants. They've already played Clubhouse twice in APAC South this year, and on both occasions they banned out the Thatcher and the Jaeger, so already some deviance there. On the flip side, this is the first time that the Knights are playing this map in APAC South League, and they've played it twice in OCN, on both occasions banning out a Hard Breach and Mirror. So both teams are going to double down on the Hard Breach, leaving Thatcher on the board, and Thermite, of course, going to be getting a lot of play. That'll be a lot of the focus in this match. Not often we see Mav and Hibana banned out on Clubhouse, so it should be quite fun. Mirror followed up there by the Knights, and you would have to expect the projectile denial will be followed up here by the Giants.
Yeah, that was the comment I was going to make, actually, was the Hibana more than anything. Jaeger also going to be banned out as well, so I assume we're going to be seeing a lot of Wamai here on Clubhouse in this matchup. Knights are going to be on the attack first, Giants on the defense, and a map that has, well, I guess followed the sort of 50-50 route. It's not so defender-sided, not so attacker-sided. It's anyone's game. Whoever can get a 4-2 half, regardless of their side, is going to be pretty happy with their half. First up, it is going to be Church Arsenal for the defensive Giants. Now, I went Giants, Scuzz. You went Knights, if I'm correct, which means that regardless, one of us is going to be leading the tips tonight.
Yeah. The real rivalry is in the predictions, not between these two teams. But yeah, I think it's going to be an extremely tight and entertaining game of Siege. Both of the teams on the server just are so refined in their play style. Arguably, the Knights are probably a little bit more refined in their current form, as the Giants have been struggling a little bit. But things can change quickly, and they could turn the tide here. I think one thing as well to talk about, I briefly mentioned it in the ban phase, is these teams' actual history on this map. As I mentioned, the Giants have played it twice in stage 1 of this league. They lost it once to Q Confirm 5-7, so they got no points in that matchup. That would not be enough for them tonight. But they did get a win against the Chiefs, 7-4. So they at least have some form against an Oceanic team heading into this one.
Well, the expectations coming into this match have been mixed. We've got some of us that are saying that, you know, Giants are bound to come back. They're bound to get a win on the board. They've dropped their last 2 best of ones. This team has never lost 3 best of ones in a row. Just has never happened. They have dropped 3 maps in a row, of course. In fact, it wasn't even that long ago. So it does feel like now's the game that Giants are going to be able to get that back, snap that losing streak, keep their playoff hopes alive. And, well, if it doesn't happen, then their season is in tatters, and we go from there. Jordan is going to open up the fray with the elimination onto Josh. Good start, actually, getting that run out, and he can actually run back down. Giants are going to have the advantage for the next 2.5 minutes.
Cheeky there from the Giants, so with Josh taken down, that will probably make a blue take a little bit more challenging for the attack. The pain's compounded as well. Luna gets a second for his team in this round, or the second for the team in this round. And honestly, we're a minute in, and this should be a Giants round, provided that the Knights don't pull off a minor miracle here in the first round. Sure, they have plenty of time to work with and might be able to isolate a couple of picks, but provided the Giants play this smart, they really shouldn't be giving those away.
And this is where Giants need to not get too greedy. Feeling they've got the advantage, sending 1 or 2 upstairs. I can't recall the team. I think it might have been Chiefs throwing around on Clubhouse, where they got off to a 5-3 start and then decided to sort of employ a roam game after that, and then lost 2 picks, and then it was 3-3 from then onwards. So Giants can just sort of bunker down if they want, keep that advantage. It makes things so difficult for Knights, who, of course, have still got a minute and a half. So if anything, there's enough time for Giants to throw it, less so than for Knights to win it.
They do still have the 2 hard breaches still up, the only 2 hard breaches available in this matchup off the back of the Mav and Habana combo ban. Juicy's inside of dirt, so his exothermic charges won't really have much more of an impact in this round, but Dino at the bottom of main stairs can get those Salmas to work, and he has the AK-12. He pushes deep into Moto, but he doesn't quite get the second. Jordan looking sharp.
Versus 4. Hayward spray into Arsenal. Juicy's going to actually get the elimination onto Speakeasy, pushing from dirt, but Hysterix is there to catch him, so this makes things very difficult now for Hayward. So difficult so that I don't think he's going to be achieving much. The Fuse is still upstairs in 1 versus 3, 40 seconds remaining on the clock. Giants are well primed to close out this opening round.
Oh, they need to be careful not to give away a pick, especially considering that Jordan's so low on HP. Giants clearly favourites, but Hayward, he is very, very sharp. Unfortunately, though, he can't clear the Banshee, but he can find a pick. If he rounds the corner and finds the second here, he could be on. It's Jordan behind the bar, so low on HP, but he still wins the fight, and the Giants will claim the round.
Well, it all starts really off the start of the round more than the closing moments for the first round of the match, and it's just credit to Giants. Some teams elect to play Church Arsenal safe, bunker down, 5 on site at times even, but looking to find those early picks, they are successful. They then have that 5-3 advantage, and from there, it just makes things so much easier. Nonetheless, it's just 1 round. It's going to be a marathon best of 1 more than a sprint. We head upstairs now to CCTV and Cash. Knights might find things a bit easier here.
Kaid 6 pick there from Yazira on the side of the Giants. Hard breach now going to be critical on all 3 of the sites, really, again, considering that the Maverick has been banned out. So often we'll see the Maverick mitigate any of those operators brought to the board when in play. But no such occasion here. Jordan still maybe out of habit butchering up the wall to make, you know, that potential Maverick a little bit more difficult. But Of course, that won't be the case. It'll likely be Juicy that will play on that wall, you would have to assume, with the exothermic charges. And we likely see as well some vertical play from the Knights as they clear some of that utility and pressure the Giants from below.
And the big thing here as well in CCTV, Cash is going to be rafters, right? You don't have the Jaeger, so no ADSs. You do have Speak Easy with those were my discs, but how many is he really going to be able to place up there? It just makes this a bit more of a vulnerable location. So expect maybe to see Giants play this slightly differently. Got a mute jammer up there as well. Does Speakeasy sort of play this less committed? Guys, does he look to just hang up there for a little bit and then maybe fall back, or is he going to fully commit as you would usually with those ADSs?
Ooh, I would assume that he'd probably have to sit there alongside his magnets. Of course, no ADSs on the board. Remember, Jaeger was banned, so he only has those magnets to rely on, which not as effective in most cases, especially if the util clear is effective from the Knights. And we know that they are a well-connected team and can get those timings down pat. Good example there. Thatcher gets sent out. I think the claw was a little bit late there from U0. It was. Oh, they just rushed deeper towards site. Juicy goes deep. Can he find the pick? He does. So it's a 4 versus 4. Speak Easy runs out and finds one from outside. And now it's a 3-on-3. There's a player on red stairs. Does Juicy know? Oh, he doesn't. The Giants, they're holding on here. Hayward now left all alone to try and clutch it up. But the Giants, they hold on and they take the round.
Well, that was quick. Very fast execution from Knights. Unsuccessful, though. Tried to catch Giants sleeping. No sleeping Giants here, guys, that's for sure. They look like they're on top. They look like they're sharp 2 rounds in, but Giants are looking good. The fact that they were ready for that, able to counter the push from Knights, it's pretty easy to get overwhelmed when you've got 2-3 players pushing in immediately after that exothermic charge. And that's 2 sites now won for Giants. We head over to Gym Bedroom, your favorite site on Clubhouse. It's a must win, I feel like, already for Knights. Otherwise, Giants are going to do the World Tour.
Yep. Only 3 sites are played on Clubhouse, and if you can tick off all 3, then that puts yourself in a really good position. In terms of operator selections in this round, I'm loving U0 bringing the Frost to the table, an operator that's seen success in multiple regions. I think EU was maybe one of the first to really popularize it. APAC North, though, did experiment with it before that. And now it's becoming pretty mainstream, to be honest. You can place these on a lot of the vulnerable areas in and around the objective, particularly on the balcony outside. And that is just more utility that needs to be cleared. In addition to that as well, you have the ITA shotgun, really great for making rotates, and you have a deployable shield. So Frost has a really impressive kit, and teams are capitalizing on that.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
Valkyrie also going to have an impact, not banned out at times is. See if that is going to help things for the Giants even more so, and how much pressure they're going to apply towards top red and Cash. You can see the Sawyer gates have been deployed. Hysterics and Jordan going to, at the moment, position themselves. Jordan, very aggressive position.
I thought he was going to get shot through the drone hole.
Tend to see 1 player top red, 1 player inside of Cash. I wouldn't be too surprised if Giants fall off pretty quickly, especially once the CCTV wall has been opened up. Yeah, Dino is seeing a few feet running around, and this time Jordan does actually get punished. You called it before, Guz. He made it past last time. This time, not so lucky. An easy kill for the Knights through the drone hole. Now they can open up CC wall. Hysterics is actually going to stay here at top red. He's not going to forfeit. He's probably going to have to now. That shield's gone. He's going to get double swung. In fact, Josh alone gets it done. Knights with a big advantage here in the round.
Good start here for the Knights. Good clear of the map, and the kills, they just continue to fall. It's U0 and Luna now left to try and clutch up, and the Knights have plenty of time. That will force the Giants to play aggressive, try and find a pick or 2 back, but U0's position, is it known? I'm not so sure. Maybe he could pull off something here. It will be a challenge, though.
No. Not going to be pulling anything off here besides a Knights win. Good C4 throw, but not going to connect onto the target. And Luna can't even find a kill either. That's going to be a flawless round for the Knights as they do bite back and they do take Gym Bedroom, although I don't even feel like they took Gym Bedroom. I felt like they took CC Cash because that's where most of their kills were. In the end, though, it's a round win. Knights on the board. Giants will most likely go back downstairs to basement. They do. Church Arsenal is calling their name 2-1 after the first rotation of sites.
And that last round was a really good showcase on how one small mistake from a player and a big brain play from another can really change up the round. It's not very often you'll see a picks through that drone hole, but Dino consciously watched it for a pretty long period of time and did find it in the end. Jordan just getting a little bit too antsy there at the top of the stairs, and it really snowballed from there, right? Because Hysterics felt the pressure. He wasn't quite sure, should I rotate back to site? Should I try and hold and maybe get a trade? He got caught off guard. And then by that point, in the 5 versus 3, on most occasions, the team with the advantage will convert. So it was like 1 minute, 2 players down, a couple of mistakes, and the Giants were out of that round. And the Knights made them feel it.
Giants were a lot more clinical, though, in Church Arsenal, along with Cash and CCTV. If they can repeat those performances, guys, and get to 4 rounds, it is going to be a very solid half, and it does make things difficult for the Knights moving forward. So for Giants, it's just about repeating the sites that they've already won, which they looked very clean wins. See if that takes place. But for Knights, of course, there's a lot on the line, as we've already alluded to. They're looking to still take that top spot, and they can do just that as well with a win here against the Giants. In fact, even a overtime win would still, believe it or not, cuz actually an overtime win is still fine, because they would have to then get the 3 points against Elevate anyway, in which case they would obviously have the tiebreaker. So overtime win or a regulation win is more than fine for Knights in the event that Giants maybe do actually send this one to OT at some point. Long way to go, of course. We're only into round number 4. But as we get down, of course, the final 2 play days, all these fun storylines do start to pop up.
Basement defense here in round number 4. The only wall denial that has been brought here by the Giants is Luna on the Bandit. Expect that to be played on the triple wall where he's located at the moment, and perfectly putting a display on for us. That means, of course, that the hatches will be opened pretty easily here by the Knights, and the Giants will know that, and then we'll be expecting that pressure to come early. The Knights, though, they're still doing their due diligence, and Sage will send out an EMP grenade, despite, of course, again, no real contestant on the hatches, but better safe than sorry, and the Knights can get to work.
And a half remaining. Knights, of course, already at an advantage compared to the last time they played Church Arsenal, where they were down 5-3 by this stage. More to work with, although I've maybe jinxed them there because they're down 5-4. Nice C4 from Luna, taking out Hayward. Just catching him in kitchen. Minute 10. Juicy's going to drop down Moto Hatch, and now Knights are going to make their attack known. Luna up close, going for the bandit trick. No, just going to fall back now. Summer charges get off along with the exothermic charge. Luna's going to hold his position in Church behind the shield. Still with a minute to go. It's a long time to be sweating it out, knowing that Knights are pushing. Good shot, though, from Speak Easy through the chairs, if you will.
Really good use of the dual hard breach there from the Knights, but it might count for nothing. They're just losing the ones as they try and enter in towards site. And now it's Dino left in the 1 versus 5. And the AK-12 is great, but I don't think it's quite this good. It's not. And it's a flawless round for the Giants, who hold the push back.
Where to for Knights? So far, only clinical on Gym Bedroom. Outside of that, it's been all Giants. It's like the Giants of old. And I know I hate using this terminology, Guz, but the sleeping Giants have awoken here on Clubhouse to kickstart this Playday. They look the goods. They now go back to CCTV and Cash, where they looked even better last time. They could very well make this 4-1. And the other thing to note, I don't know how much it was spoken about, but there's a very real possibility that Knights miss playoffs. If they do succumb to Giants here and then lose out to a rampaging Elevate on the final play day, imagine Knights missing playoffs. It would be disastrous. It can happen.
Yeah, and they are currently the top Oceanic team in the league as we stand right now. So that would be a change for fortune for them and for the region as a whole, looking to prove a point against these Southeast Asian teams who historically have been quite dominant in the APAC region. And the Giants, of course, the poster boy, or one of the poster boys alongside Cloud9 last year in APAC North. I'm still waiting for this half to play out though. We've seen so many halves, it feels like, in APAC North that have just been your classic 4-2 in favor of the defense, and it's lining up to be one of these again. What I will say is, the 3 rounds that the Giants have won have been super, super clinical. And remembering back to the one that they lost where the Knights capitalized, it was off the back of only a really minor mistake. And that could be a trend that continues across all of the rounds in this matchup. It'll come down to which team can capitalize on those really tiny mistakes the most.
I think the other thing to point out as well, Sage on 0 kills, who has usually been popping off for the Knights. So on a donut right now, and if he can get back into the game, he can start finding a few kills. The Knights themselves will find it a bit easier as well to sort of follow his lead. I mean, Yazera's on 0 kills as well on the Bandit, but right now the rest of his team is very much stepping up. Speakeasy back over in Rafters on the Wamai. And Yazera right on this CCTV wall.
Has his hands full with the Bandit, and this isn't something you see every day on Clubhouse. The Bandit trick via the Thermite. Josh is ready and waiting. He can concuss through the drone hole and disrupt this. Zero with some protection from the deployable shield, but it might not prove to be enough. Juicy will just double check the setup, work out exactly what's going on, but Zero is conscious, and Luna as well, shooting some of these drones. Josh, though, he has a sneaky one that could pay dividends for the Knights.
Knights still just struggling to get this wall open, though. Credit to Yazera with this Bandit tricking. They might even have to forfeit this soon. There's a really big possibility of that happening, and may have to elect for a con push, which Giants are sort of also prepared defensively for that. You can see Jordan's positioning over in bedroom. Still a minute 20 seconds left. I mean, they can't all funnel through garage. That's surely just not going to work. This is it. Final EMP grenade as well on the Thatcher. Yazera from below. Does he get the trick one more time? Are you serious? Oh, this is not good for the Knights, guys. Not at all.
Well, finally, they're pressuring from below, but Luna is counter-pressuring the pressure from the stairs. So Josh needs to be really, really careful here. He's trying to go below, clear your Zero off, and allow Juicy to use the last of the exothermic charges. That said, it sounds like Salmas are going off as Hayward finds the pick. So they're doing a lot of work late here, the Knights. But the round is not out of touch just yet. Actually, in fact, the wall is not open, but it should be in just a moment.
It will be now, and then also the fact that Luna just not watching their back. Sage gets the kill, is now off that donut. Wall open in CCTV. 30 seconds left. Advantage over the Knights. 5 versus 2. Somehow, they've just been able to pick apart the Giants, despite struggling on this CC wall for so long. It's up to Hysterics now from Storage to get at least one. Does so onto Josh. Takes a bit of damage for it, though. Even struggling to kill those drones. Swing from Jordan unsuccessful. Knights are going to win this round, barring a collapse against Hysterics. Spotted the head of Hayward. Does get that one. Random spray through the wall. Not going to be able to stop the plant, though. Oh! Nice shot onto Juicy. Wow. Knights. A messy round, but it's a round win nonetheless.
And with that, they've got their 2 attacks on the board now. I would say that given the bans, given just how strong the defenses have been here so far, that is a solid position to find yourself in. A 3-3 would be even better. So this matchup, super tight at the moment. And arguably the previous night's win came from some mistakes from the defense. That one there, though, it was a bit harder to tell. But the Knights, they were just super clean in what they were trying to do. Super methodical. They didn't let the pressure get to them. It felt like the pressure was compounding. They were struggling to get the Cannons wall open time after time after time after time. Really good effort there from Yazera to deny it as long as he did. But once they finally got that vert and cleared that position, they just steamrolled them. And even, honestly, once the wall was open, it was like a 2 versus 5 by that point anyway, so it probably didn't really matter. But they got through that checklist and they had plenty of time left.
But that's what the best teams will be able to do, though. If you put all your stock in that Kennel's wall, and then by the time you get it open, there would have been 30 seconds left in a 5 versus 5. Just not going to happen. But because they were able to find picks elsewhere, they cleared the play in Rafters, they got the vert player, they were able to, you know, get these picks. And as you said, then it's 5 versus 2, and finally you get the wall open. By that point, the round's basically won. Even then, not needing the wall. So full credit to Knights in that approach there in round number 5. As you said, held their nerve and Well, it is all about 95% mental strength here in Siege, isn't it? According to Specker, who, from that earlier interview, I think actually found the magic box the way he was speaking. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that one. Good news for the Knights, though, because a 1-4 scoreline would have been disastrous, and a good fight back here. Giants look to close out 4-2, though, as they will repeat this site, and they will try again.
A near identical setup here again from the Giants. Yazira playing on the Kenner's wall.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Batteries in hand and a shield to offer at least some protection on the side of the Knights. One hard breach outside. That's Juicy on the Thermite. Josh can get ready to concuss Yazira playing the Zofia. Hayward, though. Oh, this could be big. He preps a nade from outside the window and it hits. Oh my, that's huge. And now the Knights can get the wall open with 2 minutes left.
Yazira did not see that one coming. Speakeasy, though, gets one, gets a second one as well. They're both dead. Wow, how quick things can turn in Siege. At one point, you're thinking Knights have just been able to spring a massive surprise on the Giants and take a clear advantage for the remainder of the round, and then immediately that is just diffused. And Giants will regain this semblance of a lead. Still lounge control as well. They don't have rafters control at all. The only thing really now for Knights is they've got the wall open, but there's no one there.
Such a good start for the Knights. Oh, Hayward. Oh,
Attackers recovered the bomb.
there's no way he just hit that. Proving to the entire Siege community that that site does not in fact suck. It leaves it in a 3-on-3. Luna does find one back though. This should be a Giants round, but don't count Hayward out of this.
Well, not necessarily, because they got the player in Rafters. Rafters is now available for Hayward to push up. They've obviously already got the wall open, and there's still a minute. So there's a bit of time to work with here for both Hayward and Sage. They can actually make this work because they've got these cross sightlines opened up. The thing they've got to be careful, of course, is the fact that Giants got an extra player. If that player wants to drop down con hatch and then rotate over to garage, for example, that will make things very tricky for Knights. Right now, though, they just really want to try and push into CCTV, get that plant down. Unfortunately, Hayward just went a little too far, walked into the sightlines of Luna. Sage trying to get the refrag, not going to happen. Hysterics comes in and shuts that one down, and the half will go the way of the Giants, 4-2.
Good lead established there by the Giants on their defense, but we saw just how tough and how gritty those attacking efforts were from the Knights just to get 2 on the board. So the job is far from over, and this is setting up to be an absolute banger of the match. I mean, that's even without the consequences of this match considered, which in themselves is huge. The Giants, they get 0 points. If this flips around on them, they won't make the playoffs, which is absolutely massive. The Knights, on the other hand, they're looking to at least get this game to overtime to try and secure their fate.
Yeah, and look, we've spoken about it at length. We've mentioned it a few times. 0 points for Giants equals missed playoffs, but they've got 4 rounds already in the bank. So you're telling me that they're going to allow Knights to get like the next 5 of 6 rounds? I just don't see that happening the way that it has played out so far. Of course, we switch halves now. Giants will go on the attack, Knights on the defense. You know, you mentioned before, guys, I think you must feel like it's slightly defender-sided, but statistically, it's 50-50. So it depends on, I guess, maybe the individual sites as a whole. But I think Giants have already got enough points in the bank here that they can at least force OT. If they do that, then they are alive in terms of the playoff scenario.
Thanks to Sky on the obs, showing us the Knights roam, and we also got a cheeky peek at Yazira's drone upstairs over in towards bedroom. So the Giants know that a roam has been established. That raises the question, of course, will they try and clear it, or will they attempt to ignore it? I would have to assume that the Giants would want to try and clear it out. Of course, easier said than done, especially considering that the Giants don't have the Jackal on the board, which would aid that. Their flank watch as well will be limited without a Nomad, so it could be quite risky.
Yeah, and this is also for Knights not needing to find kills, but to just waste a lot of time and force Giants into this top-down clear, which is exactly what they're doing now. You see Luna dropping into logistics, but this is, Church Arsenal, right? So you don't tend to see that. Josh has actually been seriously wounded. I mean, if there's 100 HP on a player, he's on 1. So He has to be super careful now. And one thing Knights don't want from this, though, is to give Giants an advantage. Luna's going to be able to get this kill, surely, unless he just literally throws his life away. He does so. Josh with the perfect angle, but Speakeasy at least getting the refrag, knowing that he was in there. So 4 versus 4. But this is what Knights do have to be careful of. And I start to think that Hayward is making his way back down towards basement.
Does tease the re-roam. He's thinking about heading back upstairs. It might be the play. He could find a couple of counter picks, but the Giants, they're droning, and they seem to be aware, or at least are cautious of, a Vigil still lurking around. I think the percentage play here for Hayward is probably to head back downstairs and force the 4v4 on site. The K1A is still super, super strong late round, and he can use that to his advantage. He elects to do so, and now with a minute to go, the Giants can work the hatches. Maybe if they have the time, work a bit of vert, keeping in mind that the sledge was, of course, taken down, so that will be slowed a little bit. And then they can think about exactly how they want to push site. We saw the Giants put a lot of emphasis on the triple wall. Will the Giants do the same?
And it's job done from Hayward. It may not look like he did much, but the perceived pressure that the Vigil puts out is most notable, and you could see that in the way that Giants were approaching the site. I mean, there's only, going to be 35 seconds left in the round, and they haven't actually achieved too much in terms of Church Arsenal. Yes, they, cleared top down, but now they're still trying to clear these mute jammers, still open up this church wall. So there's a lot to still do here. Hayward going to be super aggressive on this Vigil, has been droned out, so his position is known. Gas canisters also going to be thrown. Sage up close here in Arsenal, looking in towards blue. Speakeasy getting the big fractal onto Juicy. There's one back though from Sage, needs to get involved. Only has 2 kills. He's going to easily get a third. Oh, somehow with the shot, Speakeasy. He's going to punish him. He's got 3 for the round, but he's got to do it all. Ysera, not going to happen. Knights will clutch out. A messy end to the round and a much needed round win.
A messy round to the end, for sure. A scary end to the round if you're a Knights fan. There was that small inkling that I had that the Giants, off the back of that kill in blue, were going to somehow turn that around. But I think in the end, the timer was against them, of course. 30 seconds left for the execute, and they didn't really have a whole lot done off the back of the roam clear. Came back to bite them. Oof. Deep breaths after that round, not only for you and I, but for the teams in the server as well. And the Knights will have to start thinking about their CC setup.
And it feels like that for every single round. Every round is so important in the grand scheme of things. The closer the Giants can get to 5, in a way, that's like season point for them, or playoff point. Doesn't get them into the playoffs, guys, but it at least secures their lifeline if they can get to 6 rounds. So they're 2 rounds away from that. That's how close they are. And in this world, this crazy, crazy world, there's a chance that Knights maybe just have this like 4-5 round sort of comeback and cause Giants to get 0 points and miss playoffs. It can happen. We've seen it, especially on Defense Clubhouse. It's not impossible. Big rounds to come. Giants, of course, on the attack. If they start losing a few rounds, it's easy to get a bit sweaty and wonder, are we going to be able to achieve this? Pressure's on them more so than Knights. Obviously, for Knights' sake, they can get first. They can't get first, though, if they do lose this. So I guess there's that pressure too for Knights, but maybe not so much as Giants missing playoffs altogether.
Aggressive lineup here again from the Knights, electing to bring Vigil to the board once again. It was Hayward in the last round to play that operator, but Dino has stolen it from him in round number 8. Fair chance he lurks around on the western side of the map, and if the Giants, particularly late round, want to push that side, they'll need to be vigilant in their clear.
Oh, jeez.
But I'm sure for now the Giants will be focusing their efforts on the main wall. That's where the action will be going down, as Josh is trying to stop all of these players from harassing him.
Well, he's going to get the left side one, but he can't get both. The exothermic charge is going to go off from Hysterics, so that wall's opened up super early compared to the Knights attack, where of course we saw them struggle with it. Although they actually won the round anyway, right? So I mean, how much emphasis do you really want to put on that? You would be sitting here and say, wow, super early. Kennel's wall opened up for Giants. This is great. Everything's looking great, but Knights got it open with 35 seconds left and then still won the round anyway. So it's just a part and parcel of taking this site. Giants have just done it a little bit earlier. Can they capitalize elsewhere, though? Ooh. That's the real question.
I'm getting a bit nervous here for Speakeasy. Dino still lurking around. I don't think he's been droned out. At least his body language doesn't show it. He has been sprayed at, though. Sprayed back, and that will reveal his position and the call will go out from the Giants. I wonder if they're going to invest much time and effort into clearing it. It looks like the players are rotating over to that side, but Dino's already escaped. His outline is back at the objective. So the Giants are going to be wasting time now droning before they take this con control.
Yeah, and this is more of a Southeast Asia thing as well. Con control, we don't see it as much from the OCE teams, which was pretty evident from Knights' attack. They put zero effort into attacking through con. It's probably why you saw Dino around bedroom as well. They know that con's going to be a bit more of a threat coming from Giants' attack, so did waste a bit of time. Minute left, still haven't got that con wall open, and if they're going to emphasize this, then they're going to get to work on it pretty quickly. Otherwise, they're going to have to change their approach and look to clear out garage.
Speakeasy getting
Which
ready.
I don't think they're doing.
Yeah, Speakeasy getting ready to drop down into the main breach and watch an important cross as the cash wall into con has been blown. The Giants get the first pick onto the board, and they set themselves up really nicely. Hayward, he's going to be key here for the Knights. He can watch the run in from con, but he needs to be careful he doesn't get cleared out.
Still a bit of emphasis from Knights over towards Garage, but it's going to be a full con push along with Kennel's Wall for Giants, and Speakeasy just catches Juicy with his pants down, sitting inside the CCTV. That was a C4 that we saw from the outline. That was Sade catching Azera. Hayward with a quick double too is able to get hysterics. 2 versus 3 now with 15 seconds left in the round. Another clutch close round, another messy round. It's been so close in almost all of them towards the end. But this time Knights are going to have to go for the counter defuse unless Luna gets stopped with 1 second to go. Is going to be able to get it off. Yes, just barely though. Now in a 1 versus 2. Hayward, can he come up big for the Knights and tie us up 4-4?
There's a player on the table, one inside of con. Hayward sprays desperately to try and find one. It does. That's Luna taken down. It's Jordan left inside of con. He just needs to play time and let it whittle down. He swings though, but it pays off. And the Giants will just take the round.
My heart goes.
I was nervous.
Skipped a beat as soon as Jordan just swings through that door. I'm thinking, no, don't give him the opportunity. Don't give Hayward that chance to just rip your head off. I thought you had time. He wasn't even on the diffuser at all yet, but he does win it. It's back and forth, and this might be like the 4th or 5th round in a row, guys, that we've seen it come down to the last moments for each round. It has been close. It's been back and forth from both of these teams. And we got ourselves a Knights tack timeout. Which is fair enough.
I don't mind these tack timeouts. They're new for this year in online, and it gives us just a nice opportunity to take stock. Again, take another big deep breath. This has been a very intense game, I've got to say. A lot of these rounds are just absolute dogfights at the end. So many trades. So many look-ins for the Knights in that last round. Maybe a little bit more aggression here or there. They could have turned the tide. Likewise for the Giants, it really could have been a different tale now. The scores could have been 4-4. If Jordan loses that swing, we're sitting here 4-4. That's how close this game is. It's coming down to really micro decision-making, which is a lot of fun to watch.
Timeout over. I think the majority of that timeout would have just been breathe. Relax. Let's just calm down a little bit here. It's been some crazy rounds in the last couple of rounds. Knights are in this though. The fact they're on the defense, there's more room for Giants to sort of mess up on their attacks. But Giants so far have looked good. We haven't seen too many of their attacking rounds, of course. That was actually their first attacking round win. But from what I saw, I was pretty happy with that. They were pretty cool, calm, collected. They didn't rush anything. They got that Kennel's Wall opened up super early on. So really, they ticked a lot of boxes, guys, that you really want to be ticking on their attacks.
Yeah. Again, it really just came down to that late round and which team can hit their ones, has slightly better communication and can play off one another innately. Often in those sort of situations, the window of opportunity that you have to actually make effective callouts and play off that is just so minute. The best of the best can sometimes do it, but a lot of the time, you're really just playing off what feels right in the moment, and teams that have that innate synergy will prevail in a lot of those scenarios. It was the Giants on that occasion, but with the Knights reattempting the site, now could be their opportunity to bite back. Kennel's Wall, it was opened at the 220 mark for the Giants in the last round, and they could be nice efficient once again. That should put the pressure on the Knights early as well.
And it's pretty difficult for Josh to be able to get both walls here on the Bandit, and he's going to have to do some funky things to make it happen. But generally, yeah, we're seeing that right side wall get... Oh, he gets it! He actually stops the exothermic charge. One of the Selma charges does go off, and it does establish some sightlines, but it's not the whole wall opened in its entirety, at least not for now. With that being opened, though, it should be a bit easier to open it up later on in the round. But, I mean, that's fine. It's like half a job done for Giants, at least, already.
Yeah, often you don't really need an entry point. It can just maybe make your team look a little bit silly if a player's stranded outside if he's watching the cross, but there we go. They'll open an entry hole nonetheless anyway, and that's job done for the Giants. So they could tick that off the list. Now we're expecting them, if the trend continues, for them to flip over to the other side of the map, down to the west, over towards bedroom, and establish some control in towards con. They've already done a good job so far, and Luna's got the line of sight from Logi, Hysteric's already on the balcony, and they can start to work this wall halfway into the round. This is going to open it
easily.
And interestingly enough, Josh last time quickly rotated towards Cash to electrify the wall. He hasn't done that on this occasion.
He can still do so, but this is some strange positioning. Two players top red. Josh is halfway down the stairs. Sage is down even further. Do you want to speak to this one, Guz? Because I'm out of my expertise here.
Yeah, I mean, it could really prove costly here. It's going to depend on, do the Giants actually drone this out? The Jordan's got to drone inside of Cash, so they know that's clear. If they drone CC, they'll know that's clear as well. And then it's up to how the Knights actually counter-react to that. Maybe they'll go for a big flank, but that's also hard to envision as well. The setup so far is leaning into the Giants.
Yeah, which is strange because it's really up to the Knights and how they want to sort of
C4,
position
C4,
this. But
C4.
obviously, okay, C4 from below. That's going to miss, though. That's one gone. They've got one remaining. That's through Josh, who is actually still down below. So he's the only one left with the C4 for Knights. 30 seconds left. Giants have got these walls opened up. Dino gets the opening frag, though. So Knights' positioning has paid off perfectly. Yuzera's on sight into Cash, but they're just losing players, the Giants. 4 versus 2 remaining after Yuzera finally gets a kill, is off that donut. Hysterics with a big shot, but there is that C4 from Josh. Kept it in the back pocket all this time and finally unleashes it with 10 seconds to go. 5 seconds left now for Hysterics in a 1 versus 3. We'll stick the diffuser, but time is out, and I think his life is out as well.
It is. Josh to confirm the final kill with the MP7. And despite what we thought was a slightly unorthodox setup there from the Knights, they pull it off. It was great time management from the Giants. They blew both walls open with really good efficiency, but they just couldn't convert it. A couple of swings from the top of the stairs, and it really did fall apart. It's good C4 through the con hatch to lay down some damage as well, and that was some good groundwork from the defense. Critically, the story to come out of that round is the Giants still cannot make playoffs as it stands right now. If they had won that round, they would have secured at least 1 point, which would have been meaning that their window for playoffs was still open. But at the moment, shop's still closed.
Well, the way that this match has gone so far, since round 2, as we head into round 10, since round 2, it's gone Giants then Knights, Giants then Knights, and you repeat that until this round. So that would mean Giants are going to win this round if that pattern is to continue, guys. So either the pattern continues or the pattern breaks and Knights will tie round 10 and make it 5-5. Remains to be seen, but should mention that for Giants, if they can win this round and continue that pattern, they do get that 1 point for at least getting to match point at minimum, which means that regardless for the remainder of tonight, they will at least still have a playoff lifeline. But for Knights, of course, they want to stop that, guys. They need to stop that if they want to get all 3 points. Now, it's not imperative for the Knights to get 3 points. They can still get 2 points. In fact, it doesn't actually change their situation. 2 points or 3 points remains the same for Knights going into the final play day. So those are sort of the storylines here as we head into round number 10. Giants looking to bounce back after that last round loss on Cash CCTV. And now they're going to attack Church Arsenal.
I've said it a few times and I'll say it again. It's likely that Kenner's Wall will be the first point of conflict in this round. Despite it being a downstairs defense, the Knights are electing to go for an aggressive roam. EMP used on the wall, followed up by an exothermic charge, and Hysterics can open up the wall quick smart. Jordan considers going for a peek on Secret, but the defenders will rotate back downstairs, and with 4 players down below, in fact, all 5 players down below, this will now test Giants' ability to quickly drone out the map, make sure everything's clear, and then begin to work the hatches.
I don't mind this though. If you show presence second floor, that forces Giants into that top-down clear. So Knights have done well to now force Giants into the top-down clear. May take them another 30 seconds or so before they start really getting to work on that first floor. You know, remodeling the kitchen site, for instance, and beginning to open up those hatches as well. So it's job done from Knights, and they're just playing it safe, making sure they don't lose anybody. Because if someone gets caught rotating back down to basement and Giants have a 5-on-4 advantage, makes things so much easier for Giants. For 5 versus 5, though, it's actually slight advantage over to Knights right now.
Slight variation in the wall denial being brought here from the Knights in comparison to the Giants. Hayward has brought the Kaid to the table, but with the Thatcher on the board, doesn't really have has a limited impact. The bar hatch popped pretty easily, and that leaves the third and final hatch inside of Kitchen. The only one left standing, Hayward, does get to work with the AUG. Oh, that is a nasty angle above the triple wall towards the main stairs. Jordan gets lit up. The call out seemingly not heard, or maybe Jordan thought he could get away unscathed, but he is lucky to stay alive. They need to be mindful of that late round.
Hayward trying to trick this wall here. May actually get this and does on one of the Salma charges. The other one is able to successfully blow up at least a portion of that church wall. 35 seconds remaining. Giants at a disadvantage. Knights looking to tie. The score ends up 5-5. They could very well do so, although don't want to get ahead of ourselves because Hysterics is in the lobby. Does love to find these entry frags for the Giants and has done so once again. He finds a second. Dino's going to be eliminated. Hysterics is low, so low that a quick little wall bang is going to get him down, and now out from Juicy. Oh, the double! Quick transfer over to Speakeasy, although the round is falling away, and it's Juicy and Hayward in church who clean up. Knights break the pattern. 5-5.
Oh, this match. You really cannot call it at the moment. Sounds like it's just begging for an overtime. Big from the Knights. It felt like Hysterics inside of blue was going to be that star player, but he got shut down eventually. Juicy with a absolutely epic flick there to the player at the bottom of the stairs, all but confirming that round as the rest of the players were cleaned up. Now it's time for Gym Bedroom. You know I love this site, and it looks like the Knights are going to keep me doubly happy by bringing the Frost back once again.
Yeah, credit to Knights. It's full credit to Knights. There's been times where I've just felt like Giants were in slightly more commanding leads or control, and Knights have been the ones really a bit on the back foot because they've been at that disadvantage, as Giants of course got out to that 3-1 lead early on in the piece when they were defending. And since then, it's been more so Knights that have been able to respond and now putting Giants on the back foot, because that's what it feels like. Whoever wins this round will secure themselves at least 1 point. It doesn't do as much for Knights. They need at least 2 or 3 points, of course, to produce what will be a very, very tantalizing match in Playday 7 between them and Elevate for that top spot. But Giants, they need at least 1 point. Otherwise, playoffs is a no-go. And if Knights win this round, that's 3 rounds in a row, and that's Giants on the ropes, season on the line. Huge round.
It really is the match point within itself to some extent. Let's see how this one plays out. The Giants with some early droning over towards Jacuzzi. Of course, Uzira is playing the ace and spots out that there's nothing on the wall to stop him from deploying a Salma. That's a nice line of sight early, and that's something that the Knights will need to be conscious of for the remainder of the round. Assuming they don't have intelligence outside, they won't know whether that is a safe cross later. Meanwhile, though, action over towards CC and Cash. It's Dino and Josh, the partner in crime, to try and hold back this push. Hysterics with early control inside of CCTV, but he needs the rest of his team to come alongside and assist.
Yeah, he's by himself at the moment, which Oh, okay. He's dead. He's dead. Oh my days.
I love that.
Sage from below. Hysterics says goodbye, and that's a big player to kill as well. Arguably the best player for Giants this season. Their entry fragger. The guy that's generally going to get them the kills. The Giants press the go button, try and get onto site and find some picks, but it's Josh with a headshot onto Luna. It's not looking good for the Giants. They're just melting. One by one, they fall by the wayside. This is just flawless from Knights. It's not going to be an actual flawless round, but it's been close enough. That's all that matters. Jordan, nothing he can do. Knights have got match point. Not only that, but Giants lose this next round, and their season is officially over.
This is the biggest round that the Giants have played all season. This is absolutely massive. The Giants, of course, the team to take the tactical time out here, and they need it. This next minute is absolutely critical. Can you believe that the team alongside Cloud9 that was absolutely, without a doubt, dominant last year is now hanging on to the smallest of threads to even be a chance to make the APAC South playoffs? That is absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's very, very slim margin points that you, as you said, hanging by a thread. It's a very small thread. They're staring down the barrel of defeat, not just for the match, but for the season and for their playoff dream. And doesn't that Siege music just really just get the spine tingling for what this match, or this next round is going to bring us? CCTV cash. Giants on the attack. Timeout is over. It's time to get into the server and show us what they've really got now, guys, because you win this win this round, force OT, and at the very least you can go into the final Playday still with something to play for, and that playoff hope and dream still alive. But you lose this and it's over. And Knights will get all 3 points, and they set up a match made in heaven final Playday match against Elevate to see who will be the best team in APAC South. And we've got the Monty pick from Luna.
Yes, the Giants, they have saved it to the 11th hour. Luna is an absolute beast on the Monty. We see teams often banning that operator out just to target him as an individual. The Knights, they are yet to face it in this match. The question will be, are they ready for the heat that he is going to bring?
Yeah, and look, I love to see it. What better way, Luna on their specialty pick in what's a special round as well for Giants. What if they got up their sleeves here to win this round? I mean, this is the round where you just throw everything you've got, any secret strats, anything that you really want to maybe save for playoffs. Well, this is your playoffs right now. It's an early playoff day for Giants. For Knights, of course, an OT win is still just as good as a regulation win. So it's not as big of a round for them. Less to play for, less stress, less nerves. But I want to just point out Hayward, who's been playing that Wamai 14-3-6. A very impressive round individually, impressive match individually. But for the side of Giants, the player I've got to point out has to be Hysterics. You got to look to him to find the opening pick. Look to him to get Giants off to the good start here in this round that they need.
Yeah, Hayward does have a critical job on those rafters. Hysterics a fair way away from the action at the moment. It's all going down on Kennel's wall. And again, the Giants with good efficiency will begin that process. Just over 2 minutes left in the round. There's a line of sight that can be used to hold the cross, and I assume that with a second EMP flying out, Yuzuru can throw a second Selma on the wall and get an entry point for his team in the late round. So far, nothing unexpected happening. The Giants have been doing this same process over and over, but this is what we want to see. Luna inside of Garage taking on that top fragger of Hayward.
But the last time I saw this, I think it didn't play out that well for Luna and for Giants. It's not necessarily a free win. Ooh, bit of damage already from that frag grenade of Hayward. That's something. Minute and a half. Do have to be mindful of the time. I mean, you can do the little dancing game all you like, Luna, but time is going to be of the essence at some point later on. Of course, the walking drone is going to be able to ping out Hayward's position at the top of rafters, but he's making sure he's positioning himself well, not to get killed by someone over towards Kennel's wall.
You can see Speakeasy is scared to peek, and he should be. There's a player inside of Lounge holding the cross. If Luna calls for a player to stack on him, there's a fair chance they get taken down. So he needs to continue to apply this pressure as the team tries to clear Lounge. Speakeasy does send out some utility, but Luna's down. Oh, that's huge. He is traded out, but their key player is off the board.
There's 50 seconds left, 3 versus 4. Few trades ring out around the map. Advantage Knights momentarily, but advantage Giants momentarily, but Knights on the defense, even though they're down 3 versus 4, still in a good position to close out this round. Because now time is ticking away. Giants won't have much time. Speakeasy still up. Hysterics still up as well. So your big fraggers for Giants still in the server, still going to be able to make plays. Knights just need to win their ones. Juicy still down below in Lounge. Is he going to try and make a peek, a swing? Does just get the easiest kill of his life. Dino elsewhere as well. Takes out Hysterics. I think this is it. Giants season is about to be all but over. Josh will get Yazera. Jordan gets one back. 5 seconds left to clutch out. Does get the kill onto Dino. 3 seconds. He's looking for the frag, but he's not going to find the player that he's looking for. He's inches away, but they're miles away from playoffs. They're out of playoffs. The season is done, and Knights will set up a huge clash against Elevate in Playday 7. Guys, I'm losing my voice here.
You better
What
save
a
it,
game.
mate. We've still got another game tonight, but my God, it's going to be hard to top this one. The Knights going to win in the column for Oceania against SEA. And the Giants, their season is over. It's over. How?
Wow.
Unbelievable. So many people, ourselves included, thought the Giants would be by far the best team in APAC South. But they're not even going to make the playoffs.
There's a chance they may actually finish last now, and there's no chance that they can make playoffs. Full credit to Knights, though. They turned this match around. I thought we saw the Giants of old throughout this match. 4 rounds in a row to Knights to close it out emphatically. And an OCE team finally takes down Giants. Not only that, Guz, but also ends their season, and their playoff hopes are in tatters. They're gone. They're out. Giants are done. Not only will they not be representing APAC South, they're not even making the playoffs in any matter. I just can't believe it. Full credit to Knights, though. They set up a big clash against Elevate now in Playday 7, Guz, and that's where we turn our attention to for them.
It's storylines like these. If you predicted or wrote this before the season started, people would tell you you're absolutely insane. I would have told you you're insane. If you walked up to me and said, I don't think the Giants are going to make the playoffs this year, like, that's just not going to happen, I would just tell you to turn around and walk the other way. There was just never a conceivable outcome of stage 1, but it is now reality. Where do the Giants go to from here? I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, I'll tell you where they go to. They don't go to playoffs. They go to stage 2. So that's where they go to. They're going to have to recruit. They're going to have to find a way to come back in the next stage and perform better, because that's all they can do. It's anything, at least for Giants, the only way to go is up from here in terms of the remainder of the year, so they can sort of build off this, retool the puzzle a little bit and figure out where they can go. Yeah, look, let's just throw it back over to the desk, because I'm sure they're going to be able to break it down even further.
I am absolutely losing it. The Giants have copped their first loss to an Oceanic team in APAC South since the days of Fnatic at the APAC finals, and Knights have set themselves up in the best position possible to take the #1 spot in APAC South. What an insane game we just witnessed.
Man, I mean, we all sit in the green room, right? We're all talking behind the scenes, watching it. And the amount of times I was screaming at the top of my lungs for both of those teams. We saw the Monty being brought out in the final round. The smoke was swapped out for the Valkyrie, and we thought, there's no denial, there's not going to be enough to slow this down. And Hayward just goes ahead and rips his head off. I mean, like, there were so many pivotal moments in there where speechless, screaming, making lots of noise, and I am bamboozled that Knights have actually been able to take that in regular time as well to deny Giants, Raven.
Yeah, it was one of those games, just like so much, like you said, screaming excitement on both ends, both teams making some huge plays, and just a great game of Siege overall. I don't know whether to feel bad or glad that I said that Hayward was hot and cold when we were talking about it on the desk before the show, because he turned up hot today. He had some huge plays. In particular, that last round, you already said it, he got that dome on the Monty. I feel like that was round-changing, because outside of that, Giants were poised to take very clean control of Rafters.
Yeah, insane game from Hayward, a lot of big plays. Higher than 2.8 KD ratio, but there's another guy we're going to talk to, a guy who I'm sure is absolutely stoked and gunning to take APAC South home for OCE. Juicy, my dude, you really know how to put on a good show, man.
Yeah, that was a bit of an exciting one, I'd say. Really happy with that one.
Look, I'm going to jump in here very quickly, Juicy. You go to Clubhouse, and to be honest, the first half is swinging out of control in a 4-2 for Giants. What's it like coming into the second half, knowing that, you know, if you fall down there, you don't have that opportunity to become the Stage 1 champions?
It obviously is hard, but we knew after the first, the attack half didn't go exactly how we planned, but we did get a couple of good rounds. There was a couple of moments there where we showed, what Snipe was going to hold for us, and we just knew that once we get the defense, it'd ease up a little bit for us, and we just kept cool and just took it round by round. So that's all you can do, really, I think.
Yeah, no, look, you guys played fantastic, particularly in that second half. You were kind of coming into it on the back foot, but then you got 4 in a row to win. Speaking of winning, you've now put yourselves in a chance to actually win the APAC South stage of Stage 1. How are you guys feeling going into this last Playday against Elevate?
Obviously there's, some nerves there, but extremely confident as well in the same thing. I don't know, it's a bit hard to put into words at the moment. Just after that, fairly excited still. I don't know, the idea of coming first place in this first stage of South, it's big for us, obviously. I don't think maybe a lot of people out there knew that ANZ has some talent there, but we just never really get a chance to show it. So it's been fun, and really looking forward to that Elevate game on Thursday. That'll be a really fun one.
Yeah. Now, I have one more question for you, Juicy, and it's one that I'm kind of intrigued by to hear your thoughts. The new tactical timeout rule that's been brought in for the online games, how big is this for teams? Because it felt like after you guys called your TAC timeout, you were all guns blazing.
It's fantastic. Like, one of the best things about it, I suppose, I've never been to Atlanta, but you always see it. It's, you have the ability to do it, and bring that into the online part, it's amazing. Like, you get, Picky comes in and, tells us, relax a little bit, like, playing well, you just keep it up round by round, and it just gets you level-headed again. So it's massive for teams that, can spiral a bit out of control or go too confident, and just brings you back to reality, and it's awesome for the game. It really is.
Yeah, well, that was certainly an inspiring game from you guys. Now, Raven's already asked, do you think you can take it to Elevate? And you said you're confident going to that. If you do come out number 1 out of Stage 1 from APAC South, you'll go and face the number 1 from APAC North to see if we can crown an Oceanic team, you guys, maybe as the APAC Championship. Is that even in the realm of possibility? You think you can take it to the likes of Cloud9 or Cyclops?
I think we can. I think, each Playday that goes past, we prove people that we do have it, and when we're all firing, like when we all show up, it's a scary thought, I think, for a lot of teams out there. So I think we've got what it takes to take it to those teams. We just got to get a chance to show it.
Amazing. Well, you're certainly going to have a chance on Thursday to earn your spot in that stage championship final. I'm sure you're as speechless as I am, but I'm going to give you the mic for a few seconds to talk to anybody out there, the Knights fans, or anybody else that you might want to have a chat to out there.
Yeah, it's always the same. Thanks to all of our support staff, Kata, Picky, Sketchy, the broadcast team, fans, mates. As I always say, it's really fulfilling doing it each play day for people that do look at this and think, oh, one day like it could be them. So I don't know. For me, that's what it is, and I'm just really happy still. I don't know. I don't really have any more words.
Fantastic. You have a great night, mate. Go and get some rest, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Lovely. Thanks, boys.
He's just out of breath. I don't blame him. After the marathon he just ran there, that was an insane game, one that I feel like is giving us shivers all here as the broadcast team, and it certainly had the same effect on the players, man.
It's one of those ones that I would love to. I would love to have heard the comms in that last round. You know, it's one of those ones that, like, I just hope that the team posts like a comms video or something, because it felt like, because of how tense that match was, the players would have been feeling it too. I reckon just the relief. You could hear that he's out, like you said, out of breath, right? I just think it would have been a pretty elating moment to hear.
Elating and also at the same time so terrifying. Who was it that was sitting at the back of Cash, praying to God?
Juicy.
Was it Juicy?
It was
my
him.
word! That literally, sigh of relief. Up until that moment, you literally wouldn't have taken a single breath. You would have been holding in every last moment. But honest to God, you know, like this is. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it. I was asking questions of the Knights early on this year, and I didn't think that they were at that point where we could crown them the top of ANZ. Very clearly, they have done that, but I think that they are actually performing the best we've seen an Australian team for a very long time. So there is full credit to that roster and what they've been able to achieve. They still have one more hurdle left, though, Dev.
They certainly do. That's a match to go down in the history books for both Knights and Giants, but there are two more teams gunning for a shot in the playoffs, and their hopes and dreams lie on this next match. Q Confirm versus Chiefs.